Commission. They don't care about the commission. They don't want the commission. It's yours to keep. They want the property to make the money on the fix and flip. So just remember, if you get a property and you're going, man, I don't know about financing, we're going to price it super low, you've got buyers out there within the company that would be happy to work with you. The Tolbert team, $875,000. Lane Gunther and the Full House team, $906,150. Simpson and Company, $912,500. Value Realty, $946,749. Sean Babbitt, see all you back row people. Sean Babbitt, $979,000. Evan Corbin, $1,013,450. Mark Frenzel, $1,013,500. Half y'all wouldn't know him if you walked right in front of you. You do. Brandy Pennington, $1,019,700. Dan Potts, $1,026,000. Move-In Alaska, $1,053,500. The Kira Dreyer Group, $1,062,000. Phyllis Kruger, $1,148,000. I think she actually wrote more, but she just learned about turning in green sheets, so she's probably, she emailed me, she's like, why was that number off? And so really she did more than that. So, I don't know the exact number, but good job. Great job. Joe Lowndes, $1,159,000. Clinton Peterson, Real Estate Professionals, $1,163,711. Vicki Hudson, $1,172,410. Questa Locke, $1,356,400. Les Bailey, $1,419,900. Christina Gomez, $1,420,250. And welcome to your children in Toad. The Radford Group, $1,661,470. Dieck and Company, $1,898,900. Kareem Muir and Company, $2,114,750. Dave Brown, $2,077,000. By the way, it's really nice when you get those awards when you know for a fact, because I see it every week, that he makes 100 contacts a week, every single week, never fails, does it every single time, has been since October. So, you earned that. Good job. Chris Drusino team, $2,279,400. I'm going to kill him.
Throat punch him.
I am throat punching him. Justin McGee is not here, and he's in. Someone text him. $2,504,500. You promised me he would.
I ran into him in the hall and he said he would.
Here we go.
That's not scary at all.
Should have had no makeup on. Ollendorf Real Estate. Stephen and Stephanie. $2,510,000. Lucas team, $2,606,000. The Dar Walden team, $3,074,210. Kristen Cole team, $3,918,760. Team Dimmick, $4,271,525. The Erickson Group, $4,696,300. Cross and Associates, is there anybody from Cross here? I don't think so. $4,793,880. Nate and Kylie, Alaska Home Group, $5,584,200. He was closer. Sorry. The other one. The Reed Moore Group, $5,620,801. And Unity Home Group wrote $11,002,046. You guys are incredible. And you know what's really fun about that? There's some new names in there. That's exciting. I love seeing some different faces. All right, so close. Okay, this is what you actually got paid on. Now y'all got to close all that, but this is what you're paid on. The Mary Jo Knapp, $514,999. Nate and Kylie closed $550,000. You get the smaller one. I don't care. The Malka Duo, $570,500. You know what's really cool about this? They had closed, I think, 3 deals before they moved to Keller Williams in the year and a half they were in business. and they have got some pendings, and they're kicking butt and lead generating. I'm so proud. Joe Lowndes, $575,500. July Leslie, $628,900. Tough month. Got a lot of challenges, so good for you. Vinny, $666,400. Brandon Tatum, did he leave? $672,000. New agent. Tara Van Orstel, $689,900. Pooling group, 705. Justin McGee closed 754. Larry Maldon's. He promised me he was going to be here too. I made him swear. Pinky promise and all. Larry Malden, 759, 760. Jesse Tanner, 763, 220. Jen Stalkup, Moving Alaska, 765, 500. Evan Corbin, 796. Glenn Peterson, 848, 711. Randy Kroom, 869. Diet and Company, 930, 90. Mark Frenzel, 1,013,500. Randy Pennington, 1,019,700. Come Home Anchorage, closed 1,045,900. Les Bailey and Associates, 1,086,900. Vicki Hudson, 1,096,200. Phyllis Kruger, this one's right, closed 1,148,000. Dave Brown, closed 1,149,000. Brittany Radford, 1,217,800. Kira Dreyer, 1,219,000. That's with a 10-day trip to Spain, I think, as well. Team Dimmick, closed 1,331,000. Boulding, 1,751,000. Joe Bell, Alaska Real Estate Team, 1,802,900. Kristen Cole closed 2,099,110. Cuesta Locke had a killer March, 2,267,073. John Babbitt, 2,309,937. Closed 2,319,000. By the way, if anybody needs anybody to buy them lunch, Denny had a great month, and he's got 20 students in pre-licensing this week, and he had 13 last week.
25.
Oh, excuse me.
That's
so,
awesome.
you know, if you need a cup of coffee, he's got an extra change on him right now.
And you got someone for profit share today, new licensee.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Welcome. Chris Druzado, 2,446,800. Cross and Associates, 2,455,730. Patty Lucas, 2,638,000. The Erickson Group, 2,832,554. Nobody can y'all just round some stuff up, please? It's all about me. The Dar Walden Team, 2,941,400. The Reed Moore Group had a great month, closed 4,242,700. Really, the Reed Moore Group is just Jared and Annie. We're just going to pretend this is all you guys today. Unity Home Group closed 8,951,677. So, awesome month of production. Thank you for my sticky notes, because I can't keep track of all your real estate team names, because they change every month. Okay, so I want to, that's okay, I want to dive into, we have about 15 minutes left, and we spent more time on appraisals than I was planning on, and that's good, because I think it's good information that you need. So, do you remember what we're actually going through right now? Has it changed your life, or have you already forgotten what we talked about last Tuesday? Come on, somebody make me feel like I'm valuable.
6 personnel perspectives.
6 personnel, you write the calendar. You don't know. You have to know. What were we talking about last week? The first 3 personal perspectives. Does anybody remember what they were? Step 1 is commit. Thank you, Stephanie. You're my favorite. Commit to self-mastery. Step 2. Grado. Commit to the 80-20 principle. Yay, Kim Hartman. And step 3, which is where we spent most of our time, the diagram is still on the board with the letters, was what model?
E to P.
Moving from E to P, exactly. So I don't know how far we're but we're gonna dive into this. Number 4, the six personal perspectives. Am I forgetting anything before I launch into teaching? Is there anything I've forgotten?
The only announcement
EA
that-
forum?
Yes, that's the only
EA
thing.
forum Thursday, 1 to 2:30. I'm sorry, I knew I was forgetting something. Just throw something at me.
Oh, Recruit Select, they really need, if you haven't signed up yet.
Take
you can
yeah.
do that in Seattle.
That's right. If you're going to Recruit Select and you haven't signed up, this is your drop dead date to do so. So get it done.
Don't forget introductions.
Yeah, I'll get to that at the end. So, okay, make learning-based a foundation of your action plan. So what is a learning-based individual? When I say be learning-based, what does that mean to you? What do you immediately think? Huh? Education?
Consistent.
Consistent?
Education.
Consistent education. What did you say?
I said always look for growth.
Always looking for growth?
Challenge.
Challenged, right? Okay, so here's the interesting part. What we want you to be education based, and we want you to know for doing's sake, not know for knowing's sake. What is the difference between those two?
Implementation.
Has anybody ever met a professional class taker in the real estate business? They don't sell a house, they don't do anything, but they take lots of classes, right? I don't want that. As much as we are a training and education company, the last thing I want is professional class takers. You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I just want to say,
I think Cody said it, education without implementation is entertainment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Typically, people who are knowing for knowing's sake, and I don't mean like, don't hear me wrong. I don't mean like, I want to learn another language. I want to study, ancient Roman history because it fascinates me. Those are hobbies and interests and things like that. Absolutely, I'm all for that. But in terms of your business and your growth development, if you're coming from being ignorance-based, what you're thinking in your head is, I know what I know, and I'll ignore anything else. The people that are chasing knowledge just for the sake of knowing, quite honestly, their actual foundation is, I already know it all. Does that make sense? Because they're not chasing to learn something they don't know, that they can implement, that they can make changes with their business. Kind of like the person that did anybody ever watch, oh geez, I can't believe I just blanked, Cheers. Remember Cliff? He was like the Trivial Pursuit guy. He knew something random about everything. Like that's what it leads to, which is great. You can have a great compilation of odd facts, but if you're not changing your business, it doesn't do you any good. Then there's learning and being learning-based where you know for doing's sake. And the mantra that person has, which is what I hope each one of you possesses, is this. I know what I know, I'm confident in that, and there's more to learn, right? So there's things you're going to learn, you should have confidence in that. It's not being a know-it-all to say, I got this, I understand it. And there's always more. Like you've never arrived. The day you think you've arrived is the day your business will stop growing. Because you will master things, and then there'll be more. And then you'll master that, and then there'll be more. So that's what we're really looking like. So there's 4 levels of competency that everybody goes through. My 13-year-old son has decided he wants to learn to drive. So the other day, we were coming home from a friend's house, and she just lived about, literally 3 turns from our house. And he says, can I drive home? I said, over my dead body, you cannot drive home. He goes, well, why not? I know how to drive. And I said, no, you're not driving home. There's cars, there's vehicles, there's still some, little black ice. No. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take you up to the service parking lot where there's literally nothing there that you can damage or hit or injure. And I will let you do some tooling around. Everybody that's had kids has done this before. I hope that I'm not.
Wow, turn that off now.
So immediately we drive up to the service parking lot, and he gets in, and we flip seats. There's nobody in the parking lot. And there's only one light pole, and I'm like, that's the one thing you cannot hit, or the pool. Don't hit the pool building, I would hope. And he gets behind the wheel, and he goes, okay, now the right one's the gas and the left one's the brake. And I said, and you wanted to drive home, and you think I'm crazy that I wouldn't let you? And he kind of laughed because he realized how stupid it sounded, right? It's like, okay, I got it. That's unconscious competence. We don't even know what we don't know. For those of you that are new, brand new, that's exactly where you are. You don't even know what you don't know. Do you ever feel that way, Mike? Like you're just walking into it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had that conversation the other day about, a situation, you and I were just sitting here talking, and you were like, I'm so glad I asked the question because I didn't even know that I couldn't do that, or how I had to do that. It wasn't that you couldn't. Then we begin to pursue knowledge, and that leads us to the second step, which is conscious incompetent. We now know what we don't know. At that point, when Mac asked me that question, he realized I don't know how the actual mechanism of the vehicle operates. Before it was, I just want to drive. He didn't even know that he didn't know what he was doing. But then when he got in the driver's seat, all of a sudden he realized, wait a minute, this is what I do not know. That's progress, right? We recognize that there's things we have to learn. So then we begin to attain wisdom in our business and life. And then the third step is conscious competence. So this is when, now we know when you begin to practice and put things into place and begin to execute and use what you're learning in your business. That develops a habit, and then we move into unconscious competence. That's when you do it without even thinking about it, right? To use the illustration of a car, to kind of stick with that, although we're still doing circles around the parking lot, but parallel parking. Do you remember how hard it was when you learned how to parallel park? I know for some of us, we got to go way back in the history of our mind. It was difficult. It required focus and concentration and thought. Today, most of us, some of us, there's a few people in this room that can parallel park without even thinking about it, right? You just do it. That may have been a really bad analogy. I see a lot of people going, you haven't seen my 79-point turn down on 8th Street. But you get my point, right? It becomes something that you do without thinking about it. Okay, so step 5. So we talked about being learning based. That's where I want you to be in your business. I want you to be in a place where you're always chasing not just knowledge for knowledge's sake, but what do you need to learn? Okay? I'll speak in the first person so that it doesn't feel like I'm preaching to anybody, but when I was selling, there was no reason for me to learn property management. It wasn't a part of my business model. I didn't do property management. I didn't want to do property management. I could have taken lots of classes. And I'm not saying anything negative about property management. I'm just saying, had I chose to go to the Alaska Bar Association and take those classes, it would have been just knowledge for knowledge. You need to have a certain level of property management knowledge, obviously Landlord-Tenant Act and things like that you need to speak in an educated fashion about. But that would have been chasing something that I didn't need just for the sake of knowing something, not for doing anything. My time was better spent taking classes on how to work my database correctly, how to systematically touch and take care of my past clients. Okay, step 5, remove your limiting beliefs. I'll kind of breeze through this one pretty quickly because you guys all know this. What's a limiting belief? Apparently no one knows it. Dave.
It can't be done in this market.
There's an example. It can't be done. Do you have my handout? Because that's right here. It can't be done in this market. A limiting belief is something you have in your head that tells you this cannot happen. Right? You have them in everything. In your relationships, and this is not just business. I don't know how to pick up the phone and call. I've never had to call internet leads. I will fail if I'm not going to be successful standing there doing it. This is not the way I've done it. You can go on and on and on.
These scripts don't work. They don't sound
These
like
scripts
you.
don't work. It doesn't sound like me. I'm never going to get this person to call me back. We all go through them, right? And we beat ourselves at the race before we ever get out of the gate. It's done. I mean, I know that you guys get so tired of my athletic analogies, but they're the best ones I can think of. It's that person that gets psyched out by the competitor. Well, there's no way I can beat them. There's no way I can run faster than they can or play better than they do. Well, yeah, you're right. If you think you can't, that's what will happen. So you really have to go through this constant gut check of yourself. Here's the thing, when we begin to think and speak our limiting beliefs, we don't self-check. We don't catch it. Does that make sense? We're the last person to correct ourselves. We're not going to go, you know, Jennifer, that's a limiting belief that you have. Now, I mean, as I grow, hopefully I do, but that's why accountability becomes such an important piece of this, because you've got to have somebody that's willing to say, you know what, I love you, and stop. That's a limiting belief. And call you on it. So definitely you have to change them into positive words. Guys, when you are working through these things, have somebody listen to your statements and your thoughts as you are trying to put them into like affirmations. A lot of times you guys will write affirmations. I do it as well. And the truth is they're not actually affirmations, they're like wishes. And I haven't built in the right language that owns it and makes it mine and speaks it into existence. So ask for help. I love doing that. People send me their list of affirmations. It happens, you know, all the time. And I get to look at them and just make a couple of adjustments, really small adjustments, like try to intend or, you know, things like that. And they can add so much more power to the way that you're thinking. High achievers will remove the beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. They will just get rid of it and say, I'm going to go for it. I'm going for it. The last one that I want to touch on is step 6, which is being accountable. I've said this before. We even said it when we were talking about the E to P model. Accountability is what ties it all up and what wraps it in a bow and makes it happen. You can do all other steps, but if you don't have accountability, you're never going to be as successful as you could with accountability. So I'm going to fly through this model pretty quickly. Here's the thing, life happens, right? Has anybody experienced that? You can be clicking along just great, and literally life happens. Can you control what happens to you sometimes? No. There are people in this company that have faced some crazy, tough stuff in the last 60 days in their life. Like hard things. Death, tragedy, loss. Can they control that? Absolutely not. It just happens. What you can control is how you respond to that reality, right? Ignorance-based doesn't seek reality. They don't ask any questions. An accountable person seeks reality and says, okay, what's the situation? What's going on? I've got a deal tanking. Everything's happening. It's all falling apart. Okay, let me stop for a minute and stop running around and responding and just go, let me take stock of the situation. What is the situation? Then we move to how we face reality. An accountable person, a person who's not accountable, by the way, we call them a victim. That's not how it is. That's not how I see it. That's your perception. Have you ever been sideways on a deal with somebody and they're totally in victim mode? The other side? Well, that's not what's happening. Well, that's your perception. You know, you can hear these words being said all the time. A person that is accountable, who's looking for change, they say, okay, this is the way it is. I will see, I'll look into it. I'm going to find out what's going on. They go, I call it a fact-finding mission, right? How many times a week do I say, okay, I'm going to do some fact-finding? Because a situation has come up, and instead of rushing to judgment, we go, let's go get the facts. Because what we've just heard is never the full story. A victim will then move into blame. If everybody else would do their job, it's not my fault. The market is to blame. The appraisers are to blame. The economy is to blame. Why didn't you do something? You're not going to get anywhere with that mentality. It may feel good for a second to throw blame on the other side. It's not going to move you forward. And you can throw all the blame on the other side you want, but at the end of the day, if neither of you gets paid, it really doesn't make any difference. An accountable person owns it. If it's to be, it's up to me. What do I want? I've got to do something. This is my responsibility. I'm going to create an action plan. I'm going to figure out how to make this happen. And it doesn't matter whether they didn't do their job or whether they dropped the ball. Who cares? Honestly. Just go fix it with responsibility. A victim will make personal excuses. Well, nobody told me about this situation. That's not my job. I already did my part. I did everything I could do. I was never given a chance. Well, that doesn't work here. I did what I was supposed to do, it didn't work, I can't think of anything else to do. An accountable person finds solutions. Okay, what are my options? How can I get what I want? What can I do? You guys just gave some great options when we had the appraiser conversation. Send the appraiser to your favorite appraiser, off the record, and just say, hey, give me some input. Get ahead of the game with your lender and say, man, I'm a little concerned. I don't think that this seller may know what's going on. Can we be proactive? Be solution-based. One of the things I love is when I see people walking around these hallways and going, man, I got this deal. Can you help me kind of brainstorm some solutions? You have a wealth, a treasure trove of resources in all these agents that literally sit just in these walls, not even counting outside of this office space. Go ask, brainstorm, figure out a way around it. And then finally, a victim who stays in the status quo, their response to what's going on is they wait and hope. If it was meant to be, it will happen. I hate that phrase. I hate it. I will stab somebody in the eye when I hear that. I hate if it was meant to be, it will happen. Let's just wait and see. Well, we've done all that we can. Let's just wait. Time will tell. It's out of my hands. Have you ever had that conversation with someone on the other side and you're like, or have you ever said this word yourself? An accountable person says, let's go get started. Time's up. Let's go. This is what I'm going to do. Let's get on with it. You hear the difference in just in those statements? One is all about proactive action. And the other is about whatever. That's what we want you guys to be, is an accountable person, not a victim. And I give you guys permission to very gently and in love call each other on it as well. Now, don't be a jerk. But feel free to call each other on that if you see it happening. The proactive, accountable person is the one that's going to get deals done. And by the way, this works in your relationships as well. And your parenting, and your spouse, and your money. I know I've said this multiple times. This is a model that you use in life. Just what I love about this company. It's not just talking about your business. It's about your life and having a better life with your family, spiritually, financially, at home, with your kids. You don't have to kill them. You can learn how to parent them well through a lot of these models that we have. Any thoughts real quickly on the last 3 personal perspectives? Yes, ma'am.
The only thing I can say is remembering is just to go back to the 3 S's, you know, state of mind, your strategy, and your story. Because those are all exactly what you just kind of summed up in what you were saying. So if you just remember that 3 S's, Tony Robbins, it's just, it works.
Yep, absolutely. Evan, you want to introduce our newest agent real quickly before we wrap up?
Right here, Susan, stand up.
Hi, Susan. You guys just finished signing paperwork,
Literally.
is that correct? Okay, so she's actually not licensed yet, but she's getting there. So is there anybody else?
But she's
in the-
already lead generating, so. I'm
There you
just
go.
Writing contracts.
She also
kidding.
said learning pace because she's sitting in the front of the class. so.
Exactly. All you
appreciate
back
that.
road people. Anybody else new that I'm not seeing?
Ann's admin.
Who?
Cuesta.
Oh, I guess we haven't introduced her yet. Miley, yes, because you haven't been down here. This is Questa's new administrative help. You want to stand up so everybody sees you? She's very quiet, but she's around a lot, and so she's just joined Questa and Ann. Super excited about
Actually,
that.
do you actually just start talking to me? I don't shout it.
Then it's
Well,
on.
there you go.
Okay. Anybody else I'm missing? Rich, we already got you. Okay.
I have
good.
an announcement really quick.
Yes.
We couldn't fit on the pre-listing 2 work sites out in Peters Creek, but I have a really awesome property that's coming online Friday. It's a luxury home, going to be listed at 647. It's got a 4-car garage that's like nicer than the inside of most people's houses. Has a bar, home theater, 5 bedrooms on 2 acres, so it's really fun to look at.
Is it in a subdivision in Peters Creek, or is it in
It's
Tablelands?
in a
or?
subdivision, yeah. It's on Shadowy Spruce, so when you take the Peters Creek exit and you go left, it's down in that neighborhood there, Northwood Drive area. It has a view. It's an awesome place. So if you guys want to come out from 1 to 3:30, and I'll have snacks and.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, yes.
A little story about Susan. She came from a commission sales job before, but people didn't know how to handle commission sales.